Did you know that Aquaman has the ability to breathe underwater and can communicate with the creatures of the sea? Aquaman started as a comic strip and has since become a staple in the DC hero universe. Who better to play him than Jason Momoa in the more recent Aquaman movie? This journey started in 1941 when Aquaman debuted in the more fun comics anthology. In it, Aquaman is a prince of Atlantis. Does that ring any bells? Stick around to find out. Aquaman's powers include the ability to breathe freely underwater. He can also communicate with underwater creatures to do his bidding. In addition, he can swim fast irrespective of the beat pressures of the deep. So one can only imagine how strong he would be if he moved over to solid Earth. His arch nemesis has always been Black Manta, who Yahya Abdul-Mateen played in the recent Aquaman full-length movie. Then there's that thing with his half-brother Orm. Historically, there are 3 stages to the evolution of Aquaman, and we'll highlight them as we go. Aquaman has had a couple of makeovers over the years. However, for most of his history, he has sported the classic orange top with green gloves and pants as the estranged prince of Atlantis. Yes, that underwater mystery city again. Jason Momoa's portrayal borrows heavily from the Silver Age period. The same plot was originally written in the 50s and 60s. For those who are less informed, the story has Aquaman's father hooking up with a queen of the underwater kingdom, and the obvious result is, you know who. Did we mention that Aquaman's full name is Arthur Joseph Curry? Not Sharkfin or whatever names Atlanteans give their waterborne children. Comical origin. At the beginning, way back in 1941, the first ever Aquaman character arc was created and penned by a certain Mort Weisinger. Paul Norris then illustrated the story. It might interest you that Weisinger had also credited with being the creator of Superman. On his part, Norris had street cred from working at Hanna-Barbera sketching such famous characters like Scooby-Doo and Yogi Bear. So the stars aligned for those two, or is it rather the starfish aligning? As suggested earlier, Aquaman appeared in comic books in 1941 as a page filler story, so longevity was never the plan, but as time passed, some DC execs flagged it as a story they could pursue. Most Golden Age comics heroes died out during and after World War II. They probably disillusioned the comic reading public, and Aquaman seemed like a positive force for good. But in between all that uncertainty, it would take a little faith before he got a proper title. The Golden Age version. Most comic stories of this era had a classical sci-fi origin, and Aquaman was no exception. To the modern ear, the stories seemed corny, but you can still be the judge of that. Here goes. Aquaman's father was a marine biologist. Sounds like the beginning of a mad scientist tale. Aquaman's father successfully builds an underwater habitat with the ruins of Atlantis. He also engages in a lot of underwater experiments, and likewise he teaches his son to communicate with the fish and to breathe underwater. It's no surprise both father and son are thick as thieves and determined to master the water too. So basically, with this trope, Aquaman is a regular human being who's become enhanced by his father's scientific genius. During this era, World War II was in full swing, so within the pages of comic books of this time, Aquaman helped the Allied forces battle the Nazis around the realms of the sea. Aquaman rounded out well as a hero during this period, and his star quality showed through. This would be all it took for the continuity of the Aquaman comic franchise. As such, those qualities shown during the Golden Age began to define the Aquaman we're familiar with today. The Silver Age. During this age, artist Ramona Frandon defined Aquaman's iconic appearance. The Silver Age was also the first time the plot was set in Amnesty Bay. It's supposed to be the home of lighthouse keeper Tom Curry. It's also where Tom meets and falls in love with Atlanta, a runaway Atlantean princess with a secret. They conceive Arthur as a hybrid human and fish-blooded hero. We see here that the story has been revamped and is more plausible. Arthur's powers rightfully come from his mother, and you'd agree the story makes a lot of sense, and the consequence is that all that fish stuff comes more naturally to Arthur, and he isn't compelled to relearn them. Suffice it to say, the previous Golden Era version felt like a mad scientist experimenting on his son. When his time comes to decide where his loyalties lie, Arthur becomes conflicted. His father is human and his mother is a superhuman Atlantean. This complexity sets itself up for some great dramatization within the Aquaman franchise. Other characters are added too. Arthur has a half-brother named Orm, which you would agree is a good Atlantean name. Orm doesn't like Arthur. Aquaman moved into TV in the late 60s and early 70s. He would occasionally make an appearance in the Super Friends animated TV show. In it, he was portrayed as a minor hero who never engaged in battles or bonded with other more powerful superheroes in the show. It was either always a one-liner cameo while riding his oversized seahorse, or little to no complexity. Aquaman was an all-out do-gooder at this juncture, and this period would go on to dumb down Aquaman's reputation for the entire generation of fans until Jason Momoa's attempt at salvaging the situation. The 90s. Comics generally became darker during this time, and Camelot had a lot to do with it. Writers and artists who grew up post-JFK had lost faith in authority structures and ideological goodness, and so the pages of comic books suffered for it. Heroes in this era brooded a lot and were conflicted. They always questioned the point of being heroes and were prone to show their weaker human side. As for Aquaman, he hoped to reunite the human world and the Atlantean one somehow, and this dream was being held irrespective of the negative political undertones. He grew his hair wild and had lost an arm to piranhas. There was a pirate's hook in its place. The upside to this drastic makeover is the readers became a lot more interested in this revamped devil-may-care character. And so slowly but surely, Aquaman's popularity as a major DC hero rose again. Modern additions. In recent comic installments, Aquaman is written as a character who desperately needs to be accepted publicly. The angle being explored as Aquaman is not taken seriously by humans and faces close to the same treatment underwater, and so he's a bit unsettled. He's undoubtedly as strong and capable as ever and pulls his weight in the League of Superheroes, but again, it's complicated really. Aquaman can't run away from politics as a leader bestriding two realms. Consequently, Aquaman becomes a vehicle for social commentary. Whether it be social unrest, power struggles, divided loyalties, or even issues with the climate, the pages of the Aquaman comics have carried them all. A great example in The Shadow of Aquaman, which was adapted into a film. In it, Aquaman reclaims his Atlantean throne both literally and figuratively, with just enough clout for an upcoming Jason Momoa to work with. So even characters that seem insignificant at first could grow into great heroes who are beloved by everyone. In this same modern age of Aquaman comics, writers such as Peter David, Keith and Kelly Sue DeConnick were responsible for adapting Aquaman for the new generation of comic book readers. TV and film rundown. Aquaman started its TV journey in 1967 as an animated feature. Aquaman also appeared in TV series Smallville in 2001 and also the self-styled TV movie from 2006. In consecutive DC Universe movie installments from 2017 and 2018, Jason Momoa portrays Aquaman as a badass character, completely sealing Aquaman's fate as a hero to be reckoned with. Note that Jason's portrayal has Polynesian roots as opposed to the original blonde-haired version we're used to. In 2022, Aquaman had a cameo appearance in the Peacemaker series. There's also an upcoming Aquaman sequel. And as a final thought, Aquaman started as a seemingly useless hero who could only talk to fish. And what heroic feats can someone who talks to fish no less perform? With a little digging and soul-searching, the most unlikely individuals can accomplish great acts of heroism and write their names on our collective psyches. So that's it, folks. We hope you enjoyed the video. Did it inform you? Please leave your comments below. Remember to subscribe to the channel or like the video, or even hit the notification bell for more uploads. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.